Understanding exposure is very important in photography as well as videography. In the last video, we talked about what is correct exposure. We told why there is no such thing as correct exposure and how exposure is a very subjective concept that varies for every photographer. If you have not seen the video, I'll put a link to it so you can go check it out. But in terms of achieving a good exposure in your camera, there are a few tools that help you do this: aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. When you expose a shot, you use a different combination of these tools to get a good exposure. I know this is complicated, and for many of you, this could be the reason why you don't shoot manual. I know this because I felt the same when I started. But here I am, sharing in-depth information about these tools. The type of information I wish someone told me when I started. So let's get right into it. In this video, we will talk about aperture. Aperture is the opening in the lens through which light travels into the sensor. Now this means larger the opening, more the light that reaches the sensor. The smaller the opening, less light reaches the sensor. It's that simple. It's like a highway of light. The larger the highway, the more light travels into your camera. Now imagine this. You're taking a picture of your friend using your brand new DSLR camera, and the picture looks dark. What can you do? You can change the aperture so that it is set to a larger opening and more light enters the camera, and therefore the picture becomes brighter. The same way, if your picture is too bright, you can set the aperture to a smaller opening so that less light reaches the sensor, and therefore the picture becomes darker. Simple? This technique is actually copied from a system we all know, the human eye. Our pupil is designed in such a way that it closes when there is so much light to allow less light to enter the eye, and it dilates when it is darker to let more light enter the eye. So aperture is basically the pupil of your camera. Now let's look at a camera and see how aperture is represented. In photography, aperture is represented by f-stops, or as some people call it, f-numbers, like f1, 1.4, 2, 2.8, and so on. You don't really need to understand the math undergoing here, but the only thing you need to keep in mind is larger the number, smaller the opening. It has an inverse effect. For example, f2 is a large opening and f22 is a very small opening. It can be tricky in the beginning, but just keep this in mind. Larger the number, smaller the opening, less light enters. Smaller the number, larger the opening, and more light. Now, if you're a geek and you really want to know why this is inverse, f number is a fraction. The numerator represented by f is your focal length. This is the number that you see on your lens that says 18 mm or 100 mm and so on. And the denominator is a value that is associated with the opening of the lens. Now, bigger the denominator, the smaller the fraction gets. That means smaller amount of light. Smaller the denominator, bigger the result of the fraction, and that means more light. Now, that's enough high school math for a photography video. Let's get back to the f numbers. You can see f-stops mentioned on your lens. Usually, the price of a lens has direct relation to how big the aperture is. Generally, how small the aperture can go is not a big deal, because people rarely shoot at the smallest possible apertures. What's more important is how large the lens opening can be. Lenses with larger aperture opening are called faster lenses. That is, if your lens can open up to 1.4, that means you have a faster lens compared to, let's say, a lens that can open up to f4 or f5.6. So faster the lens, it can open the aperture more and can let more light in, and is therefore costlier. Let's say you do night photography or star photography. You need to let maximum light in, and a very fast lens will be very useful for it. Now these are the common aperture numbers you see on a lens. Again, for the geeks here, as you move from larger opening to small, each number is precisely set so that it lets half the amount of light than the previous one. This is why F numbers look weird. And if you're thinking, why can't it be like F1, F2, F3? This is the reason. It's precisely calculated to make a difference of one stop of light. That means when you change aperture from f2 to 2.8, it makes the image darker by one stop. That is, f2.8 only lets half as much light as f2 into the camera. So each of these numbers are precisely set in a way that it makes a difference of exactly one stop of light. In photography or cinematography, professionals talk about exposure in terms of stops. Increasing one stop of light means doubling the amount of light, and decreasing one stop means making the light half as bright. But let's not make this complicated. You don't need to worry about all that, especially if you're a beginner and if you're not a big brain geek photographer. All you need to understand is smaller the f number, larger the opening, and more light enters the camera. Now that we understand how aperture helps to control the exposure of an image, we need to talk about a side effect of changing aperture. Aperture has direct impact on depth of field of the image. Now, if that is a new term, depth of field determines how much of the image is in focus. The very popular DSLR look that you may associate to, or the background blur that many people like, is a result of depth of field. If you have a small depth of field, that means only a small area is in focus, and therefore you get more background blur. Now, what is the relation between f numbers and background blur? A larger opening will not only allow more light into the camera, but also reduce the area in focus, so it will give you a blurred background. A smaller opening will not only reduce the amount of light, but also bring more foreground and background into focus. So, for example, you get more background blur if you are shooting at f2, and you get less background blur and more area in focus if you are shooting in f22. So, if you want to take a portrait with lots of background blur, you might choose to shoot at f1.4 or f2 or whatever is the smallest f number of your lens. And if you want to take a group picture or a landscape where you need more area in focus, you might choose to go for a larger aperture number like f5.6 or f8 or even higher. So once again, the faster the lens, more background blur you get. Now you might understand why faster lenses are costly. f2.8 lens is more costly than f4 because it allows more light and it gives better background blur. Now, to select the best aperture for a shot, there are other things to consider too, like the sharpness of an image. Most lenses have a sweet spot, that is, they are sharpest at certain range of apertures. Or the background blur depends not just on aperture, but also on your focal length, and so on. But I don't want to overcomplicate things. For the majority of photographers, all you need to know about aperture is how it changes brightness and how it affects the depth of field. Now, let's get to the question of what aperture to shoot in. So one thing you need to decide before selecting the aperture is how much background blur you need for the image. If you are shooting a portrait and if you want maximum background blur, you will have to choose the widest aperture that your lens gives you. But let's say you're taking a portrait in front of the Taj Mahal and you don't want the background to be completely blurred. You have to shoot at a higher aperture number to give more depth of field. So the decision of what aperture to shoot at depends a lot on how much depth of field you want for the image you're trying to make. And of course, it depends on the lighting too. It's an artistic decision taken by the photographer. And don't worry, you cannot be wrong. No one can tell you that your choice of aperture was wrong. It depends completely on how you like your image. But as a rule of thumb, or as a starting point, let's say you can choose a smaller aperture number like f1.8 or f2 for portraits, and a larger number like f5.6 or f8 or even higher for landscapes. If you are watching this video, chances are you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. I will appreciate it if you can support me by hitting the subscribe button. I hope this video helped you in understanding what is aperture and how it affects brightness and background blur. If you like this video and if you want to support what I'm trying to do, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you get notified when I upload the next video. Because in the next video, I'm going to talk about shutter speed and how it affects exposure. Also in comments, let me know what topics or what kind of content do you like to see in this channel. See you in the next one.